Alright, we are off. Our final round 2 matchup of this week should be a fun one. Alrighty, so for those of you who have not watched a pit percent run before, it's very simple. It's similar to any percent in the beginning, however, we're going to differ from the route greatly right after we get into Chapter 2. We will beat Chapter 1, and as soon as we get Boomer in Chapter 2, we are just going to use the return pipe and head straight into the Flipside Pit. The Flipside Pit is basically home to 100 different rooms where you have to defeat a bunch of different enemies to find keys to the door as fast as possible. There's a lot of different RNG involved. There's a lot of different really cool strats that you'll see in the pit. And the route does differ from any percent, especially into Chapter 1. There's just a certain amount of things that will see become more important. Things like the 1-1 grind. Really any grind, like even the 1-3 grind, becomes a little bit important. Oh yeah, sorry. Let me go ahead and run a prediction real quick. Do it for 10 minutes. If you want to, there's a prediction up. I think I made it correctly. There we go. You can vote on who you think is going to win this match. We've got Castle, obviously being the 1 seed of this tournament. I anticipate we're going to see Castle go for a bunch of really cool strats. He is on English, so I don't know. Well, actually, I think he has 1.0 English, so he might go for GBS or something along the lines of that. I don't know. And then we also have Cats, who won her first round match, and especially with these pit matches, they can go any different direction. Obviously, with Castle being a top runner, it's a very big hill to climb, but never say never. Oh, while we have time, be sure to give a follow to both runners. I think I have that command working. There we go. Yeah, Castle and Cats are both really awesome SPM runners. I highly recommend following both of them. They're really cool. Castle is actually doing I believe he's doing a subathon currently. I don't know if this just started his subathon or what, but that's going to be really fun. So I definitely recommend giving him a follow, checking him out. And Cats is streaming this game very frequently. She's probably the most active SPM streamer, so I highly recommend following her as well. Both runners right now are getting the first Pure Heart. We're only going to get 2, but the first Pure Heart is just handed to us by Merlin. And instead of taking that elevator, we're just going to jump off the left Pure Heart, or not Pure Heart, the tower, man. You know, I can speak. Just jump off the tower, land next to the pillar, easy. Alrighty. So Castle has opened the Chapter 1 door, same with Cats. They're both on their way into Chapter 1. This whole segment that I've been talking over is prologue. It's about 5 to 6 minutes long. And it's pretty much, for the most part, it's just mashing and this little walking portion right here. Going from the pillar to back up to the tower to Merlin. You'll notice there are a lot of different cutscenes in this game that we're going to see, a lot of which have mashing. Any percent has a lot more cutscenes, so we're not going to see everything today, but the beginning of the game obviously has a bunch of text. To mash fast as possible, you just press 1 and 2 as quickly as you can, alternating pretty much. Oh, and I want to give some quick shoutouts while we're still moving into Chapter 1-1. We did have 2 matches earlier today, which I wasn't able to restream. Unfortunately, I was out today. But our Losers Round 1 matches have been completed. Derek ended up beating Sonic. Derek got like a 133 or something. I think Sonic got a, or at least on race time, it said he got a 137. And then TCB Trio and Hydra King played. Unfortunately, TCB Trio died in the pit, and Hydra King finished out to move on to the next matchup in Losers Round 2, which will, all the Losers Round 2 matches and Winners Round 3 matches will be next week. I'll read them off after this match is finished, and yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Yo, Castle, thank you for the sub. And yeah, shout out, happy birthday to Reed. So Castle is starting out in 1-1, which is a very simple level, but with a very important grind that we're going to see in the next coming rooms here. The first thing both runners are going to do is you'll see them go to Bestelvius' house, and they will gain the flip ability, which by pressing A on the Wii Remote, you'll be able to flip in a 3D. You can only use this with Mario, so the other characters you get will not be able to flip into 3D, but that's why for the most of the pit, we're gonna see a lot of Mario be used. We do get Peach as well. She is used in 2-1 and in the final boss fight after the pit. So after Castle gets this 3D ability, we're going to see him flip into 3D in this room. He'll pick up a Shell Shock and potentially a Shroom Shake. Sometimes Castle opts to skip the Shroom Shake. He will pick it up this time, though. It's very nice to have in a tournament, in case anything does go wrong. He'll also flip in this room and get a Fire Burst. The Fire Burst will be used in Enter 2, and the Shell Shock will be used, hopefully, on room 89, unless Castle needs to use it sooner. Cats is going to opt to hit the save block here, which is honestly a good strat for the tournament. The big thing coming up here, which you'll see on Castle's screen very soon, is the 1-1 grind. Essentially, there is a group of plenty of different squiglets that are just walking around behind a wall in 3D, and both runners are going to jump on as many as possible. Castle gets a fast flower, and he's going to opt to pick it up. We haven't seen this throughout the tournament, because it is very difficult to control, but Castle is going to take... It looks like he... Okay, he's at 28k, which is actually not bad. You can see how difficult the fast flower is to control, but it saves a lot of time. It is really crazy. That block is actually an RNG block, so you can get a bunch of different items. A slow flower and a fast flower are the most optimal items to get. Unfortunately, Cats did only get a mushroom there, but she will start on the grind right here. And this is, if you don't have the fast flower, this is how the grind will normally look. And Cats does a very nice job, getting up to 36k, which is incredibly nice. And Castle's points are also looking good. Really, you want to get above 25k at the least. That's really the main number to hit. So honestly, solid grinds out of both runners there. Always nice to see that. As Castle is moving on into 1-2, we'll see if he goes for GBS. He has been known to go for GBS in this category, and has not been afraid to do it in tournaments or in like any showcase runs before. We'll see if today is any different. But GBS essentially is known as Green Bridge Skip. There is a very, very complex trick where essentially you can walk onto a small plane in the background. You can just walk straight up into the sky and jump over the empty gap, which the green bridge would normally be at. And if it sounds incredibly difficult, it is. There's also a life stream jump method, which I don't think we'll see today. If Castle does opt to go for it, I imagine he'll be going for Dark Room GBS. But we'll see. Cats is going to get this block right here, which will basically open this ladder, and she can get cloud coins, which are a good, like, 20 plus coins here. And this is really for going into the 1-2 shop. I assume that's what Cats is going to do. Just purchase a couple items, like a bunch of shroom shakes, a bunch of fire bursts. They're extremely helpful if you're looking to just finish out the pit. Especially in a tournament setting. So Castle's actually going to pass by the shop, and he is going to do the normal route, which I can't blame him. Because GBS in general is just painful. And since it's a tournament match, just focusing on getting to the pit is the most important thing. We'll see if GBS shows up later in the tournament, but honestly, I'm okay if it doesn't. So Castle has gotten the first pixel of the game. We're only going to get 2 pixels before the pit. This is Thoreau. You can pretty much pick up a bunch of different objects, a bunch of different enemies that don't have spikes in their head. You can just throw them around. It's a pretty useful pixel. We'll see Thoreau utilized a little bit, but especially during the pit, Boomer is going to be the pixel that's used the most. Oh no, this cycle. Okay, it worked out. Yeah, that doing that room in 2D is a little precise. You just have to get hit at a specific spot, and sometimes it can get a little hectic if you don't. But it worked out. So Cats did go into the shop, purchased a bunch of different items. I imagine probably Mostly some shroom shakes, maybe a couple fire bursts. Shroom shakes are obviously just extremely useful to have in the pit, especially if you take a bunch of damage at one point. The pit is just really unpredictable at times. The castle is heading into Green's house here. Very clean movement. Love to see that. Green will kick him out of the house, and that is going to do it for 1-2. So that whole process that we see, we just saw Castle go through, and we're seeing Cats do right now. Getting Thoreau, talking to Watch It, talking to the Green Bridge Guard. That can all be skipped with GBS or a Life Stream Jump, both of which are extremely difficult. But obviously, in a tournament setting, it's definitely better to, unless you feel extremely confident in the tricks, it's definitely better to do the normal method. This process that you see Castle going through here in 1-3 is just a little bit of a miniature grind, as well as just getting some more coins. Castle does get that coconut jump, very nice. And we'll be heading into the first boss fight of the game, O-Chunks. So O-Chunks can be a little annoying, but the strat that you'll see Castle do here is just picking him up with Thoreau, tossing him into this corner, and then shaking the Wii Remote will allow you to do stylishes in midair, and you can sort of just gain airtime, and hopefully, as long as he's not mean to you, he'll just keep jumping up into you. A very nice fight right there on Castle's screen. Alrighty, so in this next room, you're going to see Castle attempt ICS, or Ice Cherble Skip, which he gets very nicely. Just going to wait for the Cherble to float up into the air, and then we'll be able to jump up at the door at the height of the Cherble's animation. Castle's also going to go for another new-ish trick in 1-3 here. This is Blue Pedestal Skip, or Star Block Clip. Essentially, it's doing that. There's a little tiny ledge that you can jump on, and by continuing to hold up, you can flip into 3D right under the star block. Very nicely done. Saves a big amount of time. So Castle is off in a 1-4 right here, which for the most part, is pretty much just completing a bunch of different puzzles. However, there is one big trick that I know we're going to see Castle go for, called Key Early. And Key Early is basically an out-of-bounds clip in 1-4, in which you can basically collect a key earlier than you're meant to. You're normally meant to go into a new separate room and hit a blue switch, but the key's actually loaded in behind a set of brown blocks, so we can actually just go out of bounds and pick it up that way. Cats is currently on the O-Chunks fight, in 1-3. Very nice. So Castle is going to go for key early. Looks like he fell too far out of bounds the first time. Gets it perfectly the second time. Oh! And he jumped back in bounds. So that is that's something you can do while you're jumping on the sand. If you hold two a little bit too long, you'll just jump back in bounds. But Castle recovers, getting the clip pretty much 3 times in a row, which is very nice. It's a pretty difficult clip that a lot of runners struggle with. So even with a couple slip-ups, that is still pretty fast. So as you see, 1-4 pretty much remains just completing a bunch of different puzzles to get to the final boss room. And we'll be seeing our second of 3 total boss fights in this run, which will be Fractal. And we'll pretty much be seeing the Fractal fight 2 times, because there's a carbon copy of the fight that's placed at the end of the pit. Alrighty. Castle with a very, very solid Chapter 1 so far. Heading now into the Fractal fight. So after being pretty much brainwashed by Dementio, Fractal will want to fight us. And the first thing you're going to see right now is there is a 40-second cutscene in which you literally do nothing. Essentially, we are going to be skipping this cutscene 2 times. So there's a chance that you could fall off Fractal, and this would play 2 more times, but there is a jump that you can do from Fractal's tail back onto his head, and that will skip viewing this cutscene. Also a pretty neat trick. You can actually flip into 3D during that sequence, and you won't take any damage. And Castle is going to flip back into 3D at a pretty specific time, and he's actually lining up his 3D meter bar to take damage in midair, and he'll be able to jump through Fractal's head and land right there. Very nicely done. Just gonna wait for one more to spawn. And I think we might see... We'll see. Castle might be doing the 3D flip here. I think he is. Yep. So there is a 3D flip. Gets the push. Oh, unfortunately didn't get the height. There is a very, very specific spot that you can stand at for the fractal animation. And by flipping 2 times, you can actually be pushed far enough to jump on Fractal's antenna, which saves a decent amount of time. Which he does get here, very nice. Alrighty. And that is Chapter 1. So I've got a little bit more to go before actually getting into the pit. But this is the only chapter in the game we're going to see fully completed. Essentially, the pit... I don't believe the pit is unlocked until after Chapter 1. I think that's what it is. We can technically get to the pit during this next Enter 2 segment. Alrighty. So this little segment that you're going to see on Castle's screen is pretty much what's known as like an Enter Chapter segment. So this is called Enter 2. Essentially, the bridge between the end of 1-4 and the beginning of 2-1 includes a bunch of different cutscenes and little things that we're going to have to complete to open the door into 2-1. Which in total will take around 8 to 9 minutes. Cats does get these jumps for Fractal. And I think with one more hit, should be done with the fight here. There we go. Very nice. So this little cutscene right here, where we play as Peach, this is actually taking place in the 8-1 level. You just can't tell this early on, but essentially we're just playing as Peach, going through Count Bleck's mansion, I think it's called, or Castle Bleck, the Count Bleck's castle. Jesus, I'm terrible. Okay. But yeah, essentially, Peach is going to be teleported away at the end of this cutscene. And we'll actually be getting her into our party very soon. We just have to complete a couple different things first. So now that we're back in Flipside, the first thing you'll see Castle do is go into Merlin's house to start the first cutscene. So we're gonna see a very easy time save here, just due to our prior knowledge of the game. When we go up to find Peach, Merlin's gonna ask for a spicy soup. However, since we already know Merlin's gonna want this, we're gonna save some easy time on backtracking just by making it first, before starting that cutscene. And we actually picked up a fire burst in Bastovius' house back in chapter 1-1 to basically use during this segment and make the spicy soup. Alrighty. Now you're going to see Castle just use the return pipe, and since the return pipe will take us up to the Flipside tower, you'll just see him jump off the right edge here. So this is the final cutscene here where Peach is actually going to join our party. Peach has a couple different abilities. She can use her parasol to float over large gaps, which we'll see used in 2-1. And she also, if you hold down on the D-pad, she actually has an invincibility feature. You won't be able to move, but it could be useful depending on what situation you're in. We're definitely probably not going to see Peach used too much in the pit, though. So now that we have this little gate unlocked, we're actually going to go and put the Chapter 2 Pure Heart in its pillar. And something interesting to note, this room that Castle is entering right now, we could technically go all the way to the left side without flipping here, and do a corner clip, and we'd be able to get into the pit that way. However, it is much more common to go and get Boomer first. Even though it definitely loses a lot of time, not having Boomer in the pit would open the door for a lot more soft locks to happen. And it would just make the pit way more difficult. Alrighty. So Castle is on his way into 2-1. Cats is waking up P-Trayer. 2-1, we will not complete fully. There is pretty much, this is the big difference from the any percent route right here. Normally there's a trick called Boomer Skip at the end of this level that we would do. However, it is faster to just go down the pipe and talk to Boomer. So 2-1 is a pretty neat level. There's a couple little tricks that you'll see Castle do. One particularly in the next room, which will save a decent amount of time. There is essentially what's called a Goomba jump. When a Paragoomba bounces high into the air, you can jump on it pretty much at the height of its jump right here, and you can make it up to this pipe, which saves a lot of time than going all the way around. There is actually another way you can get up there using 3D pretty much. So something important to talk about is item drops, which we'll see more so into the pit that Koopa Shell is. Those Pal Pills can just be so unpredictable sometimes. But with the large majority of enemies that we're going to be killing, item drops are more than likely going to happen just because of the vast amount of enemies there are. Unless you get very, very unlucky, then maybe we won't see them, but item drops are going to be pretty important, especially if they're heals. So Castle right now is pretty much about to talk to Boomer here, and this will be it. So after he gets Boomer, he's going to immediately use the return pipe and go over to the pit, and we will get started. Boomer does have the longest text out of any pixel in the game, I believe. Unless I'm forgetting one. But it is faster to do this, I think literally by 1 second, than doing Boomer Skip and completing the level. So now that we're back in Flipside, we're going to see Castle move his way towards the pit. And there is going to be a quick little Boomer throw that we're going to see. I think pretty much all runners throughout this tournament have converted to this method. I think it's new just for this tournament that we've seen the majority of runners using it. So Castle's going to place Boomer down, pick it up with throw it at the correct position, and gets the throw first try. Very nice. And he's on his way into the pit. Here we go. Alrighty. So there's a lot of things to talk about with the pit, particularly the amount of RNG that we're going to see. There are a lot of different RNG elements all throughout this pit. And basically the concept is that every room you go into, there will be a bunch of different enemies that you'll have to kill as fast as possible. One of these enemies will have the key. It's completely random which enemy has it. So the most strats you'll see in each room, obviously it depends on the room, but you really just want to kill all enemies as fast as you can kill them. Cat's actually got a really nice drop there. It's a good heal to have. So the RNG elements are obviously which enemy carries the key is RNG. Item drops from enemies are also RNG. The entry and exit doors will have common locations, however, they will still be random. And certain enemy locations will also be random. The main thing that is always consistent is that every time you enter room 4, or any room for that matter, it will always have the same layout. So you could technically memorize all 100 different room layouts if you really wanted to. But there is actually a tool that Agurmi made called the Pit Viewer, where you can pretty much see all the room layouts. Castle is heading into, I believe, room 5 right now. Cats is finishing up the Boomer cutscene, and then we'll be heading into the pit. Castle gets the 60k level up, so we won't have to worry about that, because I think Cats is already at 60k, or if not, very close. Yeah, she's pretty close to it, so she'll be fine. If you're not at 60k by room 25, you will soft lock, and sometimes that is the case with room 19 as well. Castle's getting some decent keys. Oh, it does get a Fireburst drop. He's actually going to opt to pick it up. Can't blame him. Fireburst can be extremely useful. You can use them in room 21 or on the Ractail fight. Cats is about to head into the pit. Just has to get this Boomer throw, and then she will be on her way. Castle is heading into room 11. Cats gets to throw first try, very nice. And she will be heading into room 1. So the first sets of rooms here are going to feature very basic enemies. It's going to be pretty easy to kill them. But the further that we go into the pit, we're going to see more difficult sets of enemies, and it's going to get started pretty soon. So these enemies that you see on Castle screen are called Schlurps. They're a little slow to kill compared to other enemies that you'll see in the pit. However, they will lose a little time. You just have to feed Boomer to them pretty much. They're not as bad as like Schlurps that you'll see later in the pit. They take 2 Boomer hits and they will lose a lot of time. Anytime you see an enemy have like a dotted outline around them, It basically means that if you flip in 3D, they will flip in 3D as well, which can be pretty useful because, as you saw on Castle Screen, since they flipped in 3D, oh, looks like he's going to set up a door jump here. Or a lock jump, rather, and he does get it. Very nice. So the locks do have geometry in 3D that you can land on, and depending on how far left you are in 3D, you can go for them. Very nice key there from Castle. And Cats also has a very nice key. Cats is making her way through the first 10 rooms. Castle is on, let me check, 16, which is a bunch of Tyloids. Cats is on 8. So she's actually gaining some ground here on Castle. Another very nice key. Wow, Cats is actually having a really good first 10 rooms here. Getting a couple first keys. Just can't find the door. Can be a little confusing sometimes. Castle is coming up to room 19. I think he's going to 18 first. Cats is heading into room 11. Does get a Flim spawn. Flims can spawn every 10 rooms. They are more so useful later into the pit, rather than early on. But it's still cool to see them. So yeah, this is room 19 right here. And thankfully, Castle will not have to worry about the Koopa Troll enemy right there. Koopa Trolls will take a lot of hits with Boomer, especially if you're at low attack this early in the run. So it's good to see. And if you're not at 60k, you'll pretty much get soft lock there unless you have a Shell Shock. This is where Castle's going to use the Fire Burst here in 21. It'll insta-kill these enemies pretty much. And he does get the key first try. Cats had a really good room 13 there. Pretty much getting the first key. Not having to worry about the Schlurps there as well. Castle does get this enemy. You see Cats kick this Koopa Shell. Okay, yeah, of course the Koopa Shell had the key. So the Koopa Shells are very useful in that situation where you can sort of flip into 3D and have them wipe out a ton of enemies, but the thing with Koopa Shells, whether they're green shells or red shells, they will typically despawn off screen. The only shell that will not do that is the Buzzy Beetle, which you'll see will come in handy for setting up like certain grinds and stuff. Ooh, so Castle actually, one of the springs that Castle was killing actually turned into 3, and if that does happen, and that spring had the key, you'll actually have to kill all 3 enemies individually until you find the key. It'll just be assigned to one of the really tiny springs, which is pretty neat, but also pretty annoying. This room that Castle's in is also another soft lock room with this chain chomp. If you're not at 60k, you will not be able to kill it. But thankfully, we won't have to worry about that today. Castle's going to try to do a lock jump. Unfortunately, was just a little too far away. They're really hard to do when you're centered in the middle of the room at 3D. So we're going to see Castle do a pipe jump here. Just by basically jumping on these pipes. Hopefully this enemy has the key. It does. That is so clutch. Okay. Wow, that's kind of crazy. So as you see, that door was up in the top right corner there. You'll see a lot of rooms that are designed like that, where there will basically be a couple enemies and a door in the same spot, and it's much faster to have that enemy have the key. Cats is also in room 19 here. We'll need to be careful to not have this Koopa Shell despawn. Does end up killing it. Unfortunately, I think she's got 2 enemies to go before the Koopa Troll. Hopefully this guy has it. He does not. I think there should be 1. Please have it. Oh, okay, there we go. Alright. Don't have to worry about the Koopa Troll. Koopa Troll can lose a lot of time. Castle is in a very interesting spot right here, but it's actually working out. So, very nice. So Cats is heading into 21, and Castle is almost at 30, I think. They're pretty close to it. So Cats does have an extra fire burst. She'll do the same thing here. Yeah, so Castle is going into 31. Cats is into 21. More Tyloids here for Castle. The Tyloids are usually at the beginning of the run, they're pretty easy to kill, but they can get pretty annoying very fast. I don't think I mentioned them, but these boos that you see on Cat's screen, essentially, they will fly towards you if you stand away from them. And you can just place Boomer down and wait for them to go into Boomer. Bunch of elongators here on Castle's screen. Unfortunately, wasn't able to make that lock jump, so we'll have to walk around in 2D. The elongator rooms can be particularly annoying. They're pretty difficult to kill, or they just rather take a long time to kill. Does get a good key there. Cats also ends up getting the key. Castle had to use the pipe there. Sometimes you'll see runners end up having to use the pipe to get to the door. So we're exactly 10 rooms apart here. Both runners at a little bit low HP. Cats is at 6. Castle is at 5. Castle does have a level up coming up pretty quickly, though. At 90k. He literally has like 1 more hit. Yo, Phantom, thank you for the raid. I hope your stream went well. I hope your runs went well today. For anyone that was in Phantom stream, we're currently watching a round 2 matchup between Castle and Cats. This is the final round 2 matchup before the next week of matches start. Castle is currently in room 36, and Cats is in room 25 with this Chain Chomp. Castle gets a very nice ninja room there. The ninja rooms can be particularly annoying, but Castle had some nice luck there with a bunch of them bunching up together. Ooh, wow, okay, gets a hot sauce drop. So hot sauce can basically double your attack damage, or increase your attack damage rather. It's not as good as a Mighty Tonic, I think, because the amount of time that you get to use it is a little bit shorter. But it's still incredibly helpful for rooms like later in the pit, which we will see. Castle dealing with the Magiblots here, who have very annoying projectiles. Even if you kill Magiblots very quickly, their projectiles will still spawn in. So sometimes you can get hit by them very easily. Castle's in room 39 here. Some more Tyloids and some Fire Bros. Neat use of the stylish move there. You'll see that used a lot from the top runners, where they just sort of stylish. Looks like Cat's shell might have despawned. I think I mentioned it before, but if the enemy that has the key, like a Koopa shell, despawns off screen, you will have to wipe out, just like you saw there, you have to wipe out an entire room of enemies before the key will spawn right in front of the door. It can be very, very annoying, because Koopa shells in particular will despawn way quicker than you actually mean to. Castle is on the first set of clubber rooms here. Does end up getting this key. Unfortunately, had a little bit of a bad room there. The clubbas in particular will deal 3 damage, and they're very irritating to deal with unless you do the low ceiling strat, where you're facing behind them. Some more pokies here. As we continue to move on to the pit, you'll see the enemies will get way more annoying to deal with. Unfortunately, Castle is going to have to flip in 3D there, but does end up getting the key. Cats is on the Tyloid room. Does end up getting this key. Castle's on 43. This is the Koopa Striker room. Koopa Strikers, you can sort of just kick shells into them if you stand right in front of them. Or you can just opt to kick their shells in general, and you can kill them pretty quickly this way. Very nicely done. Kind of an unfortunate elongator room here for Cats. I think this is probably last key or close to it. And she'll have to walk around to get to the door. That's alright. A good way to tell whether you've had a good room or not, as you see, for every room that the runners enter, there's a timer in the top right corner of the screen. Every time you enter a room, it'll start counting down from 5, or so from 5 minutes. It technically is a timer, so if you were to spend more than 5 minutes in this room, you would actually just game over. But that's very unlikely to happen. But essentially, at the time you exit a room, for example, Castle here exited at 4:25, you could sort of tell how well or how bad the room went. It's a pretty good indicator to keep track of your time. So Cats is into the 40s here. Castle is on 47. In the Cherbo room here. Or excuse me, no, Cats is on the 30s. Cats is on 35. Castle is on 48. Okay, so Castle's health is critical. He's down to 4 HP. I think he still has a heal, as well as, okay, he's down to 1 HP, okay. He should be fine, he's gonna heal. So that was it, that is his only heal, just that Shroom Shake right there. Down to 3 HP. The toughest part of the pit, something that Cats sort of has the luxury of right now, is Cats has a lot more heals than Castle does. Castle will be able to level up pretty quickly here. There you go. So he does get a level up. However, he is without any Shroom Shakes or any other heals. He's going to have to rely on either a Flim Spawn or potentially item drops throughout the pit. But that being said, Castle also has very good gameplay, so he could potentially take it easy on certain enemies and just try not to take as much damage as possible. Obviously, it's really hard with certain rooms, like clubber rooms and stuff, but it is possible. Castle's actually on 51 right now. This is a quick level grind room, actually. You'll see, since the Buzzy Beetles don't despawn off screen, Castle can just kick this one on the ground right here, and it'll keep killing every enemy. Unfortunately, though, the Buzzy Beetle he kicked did have the key. It did work out for him. It got him about like 9, almost 10k in points there. So this is the Pig Rhythm room. Gets a first key, actually, with a pretty good door. Not bad. Actually chain more points there. You'll see Castle do that every now and then throughout the rooms. He's actually doing that to, well, one, the Pig Rhythms give a lot of coins, so they are pretty useful in terms of having enough coins for if Flim spawns in. But the other reason is obviously to just increase your point count. So Cats is heading into room 41. Castle is in somewhere in the 50s right now. I think he's heading into 54. Yeah. Okay, more clubbers here. Both runners actually are on clubber rooms right now. Does end up getting the key there. Cats ends up getting the key there. The clubber rooms can take a while if you don't get a first key, which can be really unfortunate at times. However, Cats does get a very nice key in this room. Castle, I believe, is in room, 56, has a bunch of Dark Boos and a couple Cursias. Dark Boos, as you see here, will pretty much spawn. They'll fly towards you in 3D, and they'll spawn on you in 2D. You can just place Boomer down and jump on them when they spawn in. So you'll actually see Castle get a ton of points right there. By doing like a high jump on a Sproing, you can actually jump on all 3 of the tiny Sproings that spawn afterwards, and it'll give you a decent amount of points. And by doing that 2 times, Castle actually got a very nice point counter increase, which is good, because the more that he keeps up his level ups, the less he'll have to worry about health at all. He does have 10 HP, so if there is an Amazy Daisy in this room, that musical note will do 10 damage. It's very unlikely, but it is something to worry about. This room is incredibly difficult for all runners. He's down to 2 HP here. Ooh, gets hit. Oh, gets hit again. Okay. He's down to like 4 HP. He's going to have to be very careful. Alright, he's out. It's perfectly fine. He is at 4 HP. His next level up is at 160k, which is a little bit of a ways to go. He is in the Magiblot room, which should be a good help. Oh, okay. Alright. Took another hit there. So Castle, again, has no heals. So I have to play it a little safe. Does get the key here. He's actually going to opt to kill that extra enemy there, which is a very smart decision just to keep points up. Cats is in the Turbo room, and Castle is in room 60. Unfortunately, did not get a Flim spawn either. Cat's got the 120k level up, very nice. does end up getting the key. He should level up. Actually, he's going to kill these enemies right here and just level up there. Very nicely done. So now he's back to 30 HP. Still doesn't have a heal, however, by continuing to level up, he won't have to worry about that too much. Alright, 63. So this enemy, or this room rather, can be pretty lethal at times. There's more Clubbas and Boomerang Bros, both of which do 3 damage. At least Boomerang Bro projectiles will do 3 damage. Body hits will do 2. Gets a Fire Burst here. That should be useful for the Ragtail fight, I think. Cats ends up getting the key. Castle also gets the key. Do a quick room check here. Cats is heading into, I believe this is 50, so she's heading into 51. Castle is on 64 right now. Cats is also doing the point grind here, just by kicking that Buzzy Beetle shell once again. We'll see that Buzzy Beetle shell pretty much take out all the enemies on the ground there and give a decent amount of points. Castle is moving through this room. This room was pretty easy. There were just 2 enemies that you had to kill. But as he continues to move on through the pit, you'll notice that the enemies will become increasingly more difficult. That's actually a very good key there for that ninja room. Cats with a very nice key. 4-second room, that's really good. More Longators here for Castle. More Clubbas here for Cats. Unfortunately, Castle will have to go to this side of the room for these Longators. Want to become famous? No thanks, man, I'm good. I think this is actually a last key for Castle, which is pretty unfortunate. Just because of the amount of enemies in this room. If you get a last key, it really does lose a decent amount of time. Cat's trying to get to the door, but unfortunately that enemy was getting in the way there. The Hammer Bro that you see on Castle's screen, if they are on the top level, they will pretty much just toss hammers down, all the way down to even to the bottom floor, so you can just get hit by hammers that you have no way to anticipate. Castle is at 181k right now. The next level up is at 200. Koopa Striker room here. These enemies will do 5 damage if you get hit by them. Oh, that's such a huge drop for Castle. There we go. He's been looking for one of those pretty much for the entire match. Does not have to worry about his health. Definitely not as much as before. Does get hit by the Koopa Striker. Okay. Wow, he actually got a lot of heals. I didn't catch there. But yeah, he's just gonna use that heal. Some very low health scares for Castle. Cats is actually having a decent 50s, I think. A very nice key there. So she'll be going into 61. I actually caught up with Cats, or excuse me, caught up with Castle a lot. Cats will be in 61. Castle will be in 71. Castle unfortunately had nearly a last key there. Cats did have a very good first room there. So this room that Castle is on right here is all Curseus. By flipping into 3D, you can basically make all of them fall down to the bottom floor. So this is the Boomerang Bros room for Cats here. And Clubba's. She is at 4 HP, she'll probably use a heal here. Okay, Castle did get another level up there. So he's at 200k. Cat's also got a level up, I think, not too long ago. So she's at 160k. Both runners are making very good pace with their points. This room that Castle's on right now is the Rough Puff room. There's a bunch of projectiles that'll fly all over the place. It's actually better to take body damage from these guys, because they will do less damage on their body than the projectiles will do. As you see, I was actually taking a lot of damage in this room on Castle's screen. But he should be okay, he's down at 10 HP. I don't know if he still has another heal drop. I saw he had a block. But Castle is on 76. Cats, I think, might have a last key here in this, this Tyloid room. So these boom boxers on Castle's screen can be a little annoying. You can actually use Boomer to stun the boom boxers, which can be useful sometimes. Heading into room 77 here for Castle. Some more Magiblots, and a couple Squiglets. Cats is on room 66. So Castle's next level up, I believe, is at 250k. Very nice first key there for Castle. Actually going to opt to kill one more there just for the points. So Cats can actually save a decent amount of time here on this room. Which she will, actually. She gets a very nice key there. Which is some nice time save compared to Castle's run. Castle is down to 5 HP. These pig rhythms can be a little annoying. Just gonna opt to use Boomer here. Which I can't blame him. Because these I think these enemies do... Yeah, they did 4 damage, so... Castle will keep track of his health here. He is a little far away from a level up, but you never know. There is room, I think 89 coming up next. I don't know how far away he is from that. He's at 82. More Magiblots will give some decent amount of points as well. It's a very good key. He's probably going to opt to... unfortunately, he didn't spawn. He definitely was looking to... kill another set of Magiblots because they do give a lot of points. Another very nice key there. Castle's just taking his time, not going to rush anything. This is a very easy set of rooms, or easy set of enemies rather. So he is just going to get as many points as he possibly can. I don't think he has a heal, so I'll have to watch out, but he's hoping that one of these enemies has the key, or else he'll have to... Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, so it's looking to be one of these Schlurps has the key, which you'll have to feed Boomer 2 times to these enemies, which is really unfortunate. Cats is having a good set of rooms here. Oh, that's tough. Yeah, Castle's losing a decent amount of time here. Just some unfortunate RNG. So Cats is on 73. I believe this is 80... Somewhere in the early 80s, like 83, I think, for Castle. Does end up getting the key. Cats unfortunately had pretty much a last key here. Okay. So he's going to use the block, which I actually agree with. It takes a little bit of time to set up, but this is a poison enemy room. Specifically these pokies right here are poisonous. So if you get hit by any of the pokies, he actually gets a very nice heal drop there. That's going to help him a lot. And he does get the level up too. And a horsetail. Very nice for Castle there. Kind of a weird spot to have the block end. But very good decision making there. Because he absolutely would have gotten very close to dying if he got poisoned there. Okay, he's going to use the hot sauce here for this room. It'll make this room go by a lot quicker. These Koopa Trolls, again, will take like 2 hits with Boomer. He's actually going to set up a Super Boomer. Oh, and he didn't get it, unfortunately. We haven't seen one so far this tournament, but essentially Castle was... there's a specific time that you can flip if you set Boomer down. And Boomer will pretty much go off at the exact moment you flip, which will hit all the entire line of enemies on the bottom floor. It's really cool to see, but it will do a lot of damage. So as you can see there, the hot sauce already ran out for Castle. And at this point, he's looking really good. He's got a couple heals as well. Cat's got a Volt Shroom there. Not too useful, but it can make Mario like electrified for a decent amount of time. Another heal for Castle, which is really nice. Alright, so this room right here, Castle is just going to use the Shell Shock that we picked up in early game, and it will kill out, pretty much wipe out this line of enemies here. And he's going to flip, and he will definitely get to 300k off of this. And does end up getting the key as well. Very nice. That is a very big level up room. Yeah, that is true. Castle might actually get to 40 HP. I think the next level up is like 360k? It's not on my list. It's either 350 or 360, something like that. Which totally could be doable, especially in the final room. 99 has a bunch of Magiblots. Okay, 360, thank you. It's a really good key there in that Magiblot room, Castle did. Cats is in the Piggerism and Tyloid room right now. Castle is in 93. Which, the 90s... Oh, he does get Super Boomer, very nice. That's cool. So yeah, just by timing that flip at the exact moment, you can pretty much do a hit of Boomer on every enemy that's on the floor. It's really specific timing, but it's pretty cool to see. Castle is on 95 here. He might be doing Super Boomer again. Unfortunately didn't get it, but it doesn't matter because he did get the key there. Looks like he's actually potentially going to get to... Yeah, he's definitely going to get the next level up, which is kind of crazy. You don't see that happen too often, but... yeah, it really does go a long way. You've seen Castle do it all throughout this run, but he's just... before he leaves every room, he's just killing an extra enemy or two. If it's feasible and it doesn't lose too much time. It really has added up, as well as, like, the point grinds and stuff. Castle's on 97, which is, you know, the most difficult room in the game. So unfortunately, Castle does not have an item for this room, but it doesn't matter because he gets a first key there. He's having a very solid last 90 rooms here. Cats unfortunately got poisoned. If she kills this poison enemy, she should be okay. Because they typically... Okay, well that one dropped the key. Typically all poison enemies will drop a healing item. She has a Shroom Shake, so she'll be fine. Alrighty. And that is room 99 from Castle. And that is the end of the pit. So it's not over yet. There still is one final boss fight here. This is Racktail. It's pretty much a carbon copy of Fractail, the 1-4 boss. However, there's a lot of areas where you can take a lot of damage, and the amount of hits you have to do to the antenna has increased from 3 to 10. It's a little easier now, though. We do have Peach, so we can just float over and jump on the antenna a couple times. 40 HP in a dream, plus, like, 3 shroom shakes, yep. 40 HP, 2 shroom shakes, and a horsetail. What just happened to that key? I have no idea what just happened on Cat's screen, but the key just, like, decided to spawn in the, like, far edge in 3D for no reason. I don't have her splits up, but I know Cats for the most part has had a decent pit so far. I don't know if this is PB pace or not. Does get a good key here. She is heading into the 90s pretty soon. I'll see if she has it up on stream. In 89, she's about to do this this kick of the shell shock. Alright, her PB is a 134. Wait, hang on. I think I have it somewhere. So Castle's about to float over with Peach here. Just gonna float on this antenna. A 134.56. She's gonna be a little bit behind after this room. Unfortunately, she didn't get the key. It's literally just that one guy at the edge. That's really, really unlucky with the amount of enemies that are placed in that room. Castle's on the final set of hits here. And that will do it. Very nicely done. GG's to Castle. That was a lot of fun. GG's to Cats. Cats is finishing out. Is on, I think, 91 right here. So the final prize for completing the pit is Dashel, which is actually one of the best pixels in the game. Just makes you run really, really fast. And we will be using Dashel one time just to get to the final pipe. And as soon as the screen goes black, that is the final split right here. GG's. 128.45 on my timer. 128.46 on Castle's timer. Or 41, rather. Sorry. So, GG's. That was a really good run to have. Did actually have some pretty tough RNG at some point, and got to pretty low health, but ended up making it out in the end. Ended up getting 374k in points, which we usually don't see. So that is cool. Looks like Cats has a last key here. She's on, I believe, 92 right now. 92 or 93. Just finishing out the pit. Yeah, the points are pretty insane, Castle. Ooh, a very nice key there. Just has to wait for that enemy to turn around, and is out. Going into, I believe this is 94 or 95. Oh, 96, never mind. I'm completely missing count. This could actually PB if she gets a pretty fast next set of rooms here. Which, actually, she gets a very nice key. We'll just have to find the door. Hopefully it's on the bottom. It is. Very nice. Oh, Castle, I'll turn your stream off here real quick. If I can find it. There it is. Oh, I'll undo the timer as well. So we can see if Cats ends up PBing here. That is going to be a little close. Oh, with having Dashel, I know Xyle has actually, Xylence, who is an any percent runner, has a hacked file, or there's a hacked file somewhere out there where you can pretty much start a new game just with Dashel in your inventory. And honestly, if the other mods are down, I'm down to consider adding it to like the category extension boards, because I think that's a really cool concept. I just haven't gotten around to trying it. Because, yeah, you're right. That is, like, the one unfortunate thing, is that Dashel can't be used in any percent, because it just takes... The pit just takes way too long. A very good key there, and Cats is out at 1:31:53 on my timer. I don't know if that's PB pace or not. I'll have to check her timer really quick. It looks like she is behind by 21 seconds, unfortunately. Maybe with a faster Ractail, it could be possible. I don't know for sure. But regardless, still a really solid run from Cats. She actually had a really good pit. Especially early on, had some good RNG. Yeah, it's very close. It could happen. I don't think she has, we'll see if she has an item for Ractail here. If she does, it might. If not, I don't know. I don't know the exact timing. I should learn it, actually. So I know for any future tournament matches. We've seen a couple PBs this tournament. We saw Manta PB. We saw Teddy get a 122. Which is a huge PB for him. It was a crazy good run. So Cats is finishing out here. Doesn't look like she has an item, or if she does, she's just waiting to use it, or get a couple hits in first. Gets the re-grab there. It's actually pretty cool. So Ractail, you can take a lot of damage easily on Ractail. Okay, she does have a Fire Burst, so she'll use it here really, really quickly. And then we'll switch to Peach and float across. Her PB is a 1:34:54, something like that. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to happen, but very close. Still huge GG's to Cats. And yes, actually, I will, after Cats is done, I'll announce the next matches here. GG's. Should be a, I think it's going to be a 135 here. Very close to a PB. While Cats is finishing up, big shoutouts. I hope, actually, I recommend both of you follow both runners today, Castle and Cats. Castle is currently doing a subathon, and Cats is streaming this game pretty much every single day. Or not every day, but, you know, she's very active. So if you want to watch more SPM, I highly recommend both runners. Yep, GG's. And Cats' run will not be over just yet. She'll actually have an opportunity next week in the losers bracket to continue on in the tournament. Alrighty, finishing out with a 1:35:24. I'll check the... oh, I don't think she finished on race time. It's probably close enough on splits. But GG's once again to both runners. So if anyone wants to check out the bracket, as of right now. There it is in chat. I will go ahead and read off the matches that we're going to have next week. We'll have another group of 6 total matches going on, 2 of which will be in winners round 3, and or winners quarterfinals rather, and losers round 2 will have 4 matches, all of which should be a lot of fun. So for the winners matches, we have Castle versus Sloptop and Stevie versus Teddy, and it's pretty much our top 4 seeds all going at it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Highly recommend checking it out next week. And our losers round 2 matches are also going to be a lot of fun. We have TLK versus Soaring Sloth. We have Manta Plant versus Hydra King. Phantom versus Reed. And Cats will move on into losers to play Derek next round. Should be tons of fun. I can't wait. We'll get the scheduling out pretty soon. And yeah, should be a fun week next week. We are getting further and further into the tournament. Unfortunately, it is coming to an end.